That's like 6-7 years of going back and forth in between California and New York trying to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
But my perspective on it, what I was gonna say is like, whenever I do stuff like that, in my head, I'm just like, well, I'm not gonna die.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I don't even like being in uncomfortable positions. But I understand that if I get in an uncomfortable position, I'm going to have to fight my way out because I don't want to be uncomfortable.
Right.
So it's just like, at the end of the day, do you want to go left or do you want to go right? Let's say left is just being complacent, not reaching your goals, not doing what you want to do, blah, blah, whatever. That's completely fine. But I just didn't want to do that. And I'm consciously aware of that. I was like, okay, let's go right. And right is like all these big dreams and goals or whatever. And then there's like these like adversity that's in between it. Of course, I don't want to go through the adversity. But at the end of the day, I'm like, but I want to get here. And so I think I have the discipline to just like put myself somewhere because then I have to do it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mind Flux podcast. And today we have a very special guest. But before I introduce him and every other part of our show, I want to let you guys know what this show is about. Flux means to change, and Mind Flux means to change your mind, change your results. This is a show for independent thinkers, people who think for themselves, create for themselves, leaving a bigger impact, creating a bigger legacy, no matter it be in business, relationships, or any other area of their life. As always, we are produced downtown in Indianapolis in our studio, produced by Benji Got Beats. I'm one of your hosts, Tristan Parmley, and my other host,
Josh Matthews.
Boom. And we've got a special guest today. Josh, how about you introduce our special guest today?
Cool. So today's guest, man, we have our good friend, Yahdy Hardy. Now, if you guys... Sensei, a.k.a. Sensei. But like it's for some of you, if you paid attention to us, first season, if you want access to that vote, that of our old episodes, you know who Yahdy is. You know some of the journey. But for those of you who don't, we're going to go back into some of that and also talk about the progress because it's been truly amazing. So like Yahdy, been on Yahdy now for like 4 something.
Longer than that.
Yes. Yeah. Then they're like 5 now or something like that. But Yahdy has an amazing story. And just to like give a little pre-frame for that, he started in Bloomington. He ended up moving to New York or California, then New York, then back to California, then to New York. And then now he's back in California, and we'll just go into a little detail about that here in a little bit. But just to give you, some insight, this man is he just travels and finds his way. He finds, he goes through life just trying to search for the thing that fulfills him. And so yeah.
And he does an excellent job.
That was accurate. I was like, damn, this is what I do.
Goes through life finding the thing that fulfills him. So Yahdy, let's start off with like what is like, so you worked so hard to get to your career, and for everybody who doesn't know Yahdy already, he works in the music industry, but like some of with the guests we do, like what they do is super complex, and I still don't understand exactly what your job is, like working with all these artists. So can you explain like what you do for work?
Yeah, of course. And first of all, thank y'all for having me. A
Big
second
wins.
time. This is super dope to just see y'all doing y'all thing out here. It's really inspiring, for real. Like, I clown a bunch, but, like, this is super dope. But, I mean, to answer your question directly, I work for Motown Records, and I am streaming and marketing. It's like I wear a lot of hats, but those are the main things I do. And in short, I'm kind of the liaison in between, like, and I only do, like, our urban acts, so, like, hip-hop, R&B, anything that kind of falls under that umbrella. But I'm the liaison in between like streaming and marketing. So whatever act it is, whether it's like Vince Staples, Lil Baby, whatever, I'm the person who's generally like communicating with like the Spotifys and the Apples and the YouTubes, and just communicating with them, like how can they support us, like what do they want to know, like how can we get a leg up, letting them know what music is coming, but then also I'm reporting back to the label as well, and I'm like, hey, Vince Staples has a song that's doing really well on Spotify in this demographic with these types of people, or Migos are really popping up in this region over here doing this. So it's like it's kind of data driven in that sense too, because I'm always like being like, this song is hot, this would be a great idea. And then the fun part, well, all of it's really fun, to be honest with you, but the fun part is like the marketing aspect is just helping, being creative with the team and like working with everybody that I work with and just trying to come up with really cool, awesome, unique, fun, like marketing concepts for these projects and these singles that are coming out. And I try to come at it from like a streaming standpoint, because in my last job, I was really focused on streaming. So it's cool if we have like marketing that's really shiny and like is really fun, but like at the end of the day, we kind of got to get streams to go up, like people to listen to it more. So it's like I always try to come at it from that angle, like how can we market these acts and get people to hear their music and increase the streams versus just have something that's like big and shiny and like looks cool on a marketing aspect. So I do a bunch of stuff, but those are like some of the like main things I've been doing recently, but it's kind of always evolving.
Yeah, and to me, in short, it sounds like to break it down into like the simplest terms, like you're like the bridge between artists and like their craft and the rest of the world.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Like so many people know these like super hot artists, but like they don't know that there's a team behind it and the streaming platforms behind it alone, and like you said, the data and like the marketing, but like there's art. It's like it's deeper than rap. Right. You know what I mean? Like it's so much bigger than the music on the other side, because you're talking about millions of dollars, you're talking about shows with thousands of people. Like, and when you look at a demographic and say, hey, this city is like just like blowing this album out, like out of the water, like we got to get a show there now, you know, stuff like that.
Absolutely. I mean, I've always like, even before music, before I did it like professionally like this, I always just took pride in helping people tell their stories. And then I found out that like my passion like was music in itself. So now I'm just helping artists tell their stories. And so in this role, it's really cool because it's like, I'll take an artist to like a Spotify or an Apple or like a YouTube or whatever, and we'll sit down and the artist will be like, this is my project, this is the album, this is a story I'm trying to convey. And, you know, we'll link with different partners and we'll basically just be like, how can you help us tell this story? And that's all I've ever really been passionate about, you know, it's just like helping people tell their stories, because like stories need to be told, you know? So that's really like you hit the nail on the head. Like I'm literally just like, whatever the artist has, whatever project they have, whatever single they have, whatever, it doesn't even have to be a project, it can be something different. Whatever message they have to get out to the world, my personal like philosophy is like, it's kind of like my calling to help that message get out there, and like however I can do that is what I'm gonna do. Yeah,
because it's not a story if it's not told.
Exactly.
It's just this beautiful piece of work. Yeah, it's just like there. Like that's pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't know that it was that deep. Like I mean, we'll walk back through your journey and everything too, but like I didn't know that it was that deep.
Yeah, and like I just think it's like super inspiring to see you like in that position, just because like for one, I mean, we talked about your journey on our last episode of like where you're at, but like even being now back in like California for yourself, like would you say like you're exactly where you seen yourself, like where you would be?
It's like I want to say yeah, but I don't know. I think so. Before, when I was kind of like trying to make it, I always knew that I would be working with artists, and I always knew that like I had an affinity for helping people tell their stories. I just didn't know in what way that would turn out, which I was comfortable with. But like at the end of the day, I knew that I was going to be working with artists. I was going to help them tell their stories. And so to be here now and like to like be able to do this on a regular basis, it's like it's a little surreal, but it's not really that crazy to me, because like I really did kind of like expect this in a great way. Because like the one thing I always believe in is just like expecting things to work out in your favor. Like, and if they don't, it's just like divine timing over my timing. So it's just like, oh, it's just not happening yet, or it's going to be bigger than I expected. And so it's just like, for me to be doing this now, I'm just like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because I'm super excited, I'm super grateful, but I'm like, yo, like, this is what I was expecting. Like, this is what I worked for.
This is exactly what.
Yeah, you know, but it's like way beyond my expectations, but it's like, I knew that I was going to be doing something in this capacity, like even when I couldn't see it. So it's just like, it's surreal, but it's also like, nah, like this is it. Now keep going type shit.
Right.
Yeah. So for you, because I mean, you moved to California, what, 3 times?
Yeah.
Like this time's the 3rd time. So like, what's the difference from now living in California to like what you did before? Let's talk about that, because I think it's like night and day.
Yeah, it's definitely night and day. I mean, yeah, it's just, I mean, I have resources. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, place to stay. I bought a car.
Yep. Congrats.
That's cool. Yeah, I think just having the like availability to like delegate energy into different places and resources into different places. Because like before, my mentality in general on life was just kind of like, how do I survive? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like survive, survive, survive. Like that was like the end goal. But now it's kind of like I'm gonna survive. Like, you know, I'm not close to dying. I'm not like really hurting in any particular area. And so now it's more like, where do all my energy and all my resources used to go to surviving. And it's like, okay, well, we're good. So now where do I put these resources and like this energy? And so like emotional availability, like money, obviously, time, you know, it's just like all these things used to help me with this one thing. And now it's like I delegate where I put those things. Yeah. It's been like a rough battle too. Like I tell Cousin all the time, I'm like, yo, being broke was like way easier on my mind.
Because you had one focus.
One focus.
Yeah.
And so now it's just like I don't always know where to put that energy, you know? And it's just like a lot of times there's people wrapped up into it. There's relationships wrapped up into it. There's like the persona of like people thinking that I like made it wrapped up into it. And I'm just like, no, I didn't like I'm still on the journey.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's been something I've been working at recently. But I mean, to answer your question directly, it's a blessing. Like I have an amazing home in Studio City. My roommates are super sick. I have an amazing supportive friend group out there. Shout out New Kids. Like it's literally just like I couldn't really like imagine this if I wanted to. Like I always expected everything to be phenomenal.
Right.
But like the minute details of like people that I can lean on. Like I love my work environment. Like literally like we laugh and joke and have so much fun, but like we get these records out the door and we like make stuff happen. And it's like such a phenomenal like environment. Like I have incredible mentors, like people that really like put their arm around me or like showing me what to do. And then like recreationally, it's just like I have so many homies. I found new crafts. Like I love to DJ now. I've been like starting to produce. It's just like an awesome opportunity for me to really dive into like what I want to
find
do.
The next thing, like
you know
to unlock your own creativity, start telling your own story.
Yeah, straight up.
Way.
Which is wild. That's deep. That was a moment for me. Sorry. Yeah, because like my thing for this year, for 2020, is just like creative expression. Because it's just like for me, I feel like I've like all these books right here. Like I've read a bunch of these, and for the far majority of my life, I've always like consumed from the world and the universe, which is phenomenal. But I haven't really like put my 2 cents back into the universe like that. And I think that that's like so important because it's not like
we need
the
a
universe.
bomb drop.
You know what
We
I'm
need it. We need one of those.
boom, 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 boom. But I feel like that matters because like the universe isn't like stagnant. You know what I'm saying? It's not like the same information is gonna help you consistently in every single situation. Yeah. But it's just like you putting your 2 cents and your perspective, and it's like your experiences back into the universe. Helps the universe like it's kind of like a push and pull and like a give and take. And so that's what I've realized that I've been wanting to do more. I was just like, yo, I've read all these books over here. I've like watched all the Gary Vee videos. I've like been to all the seminars and I did all that, which is phenomenal. And I don't think I have anything crazy to say. So it's not like I'm trying to be Tony Robbins, but more so I'm trying to like just share my experiences. Cause it's just like people like, everybody's story relates to someone else differently. You know what I'm saying? So there's probably people who have parts of my story here or like can relate with what I'm saying over here better than what someone else can say in a different way. Yeah. And so, and it doesn't have to be like me speaking, like I started DJing and people were like telling me like emotions and feelings and like their experience from seeing me DJ live. And I was just like, bro, I was just playing my favorite songs. But like, that's crazy.
It's deeper than that because you're creating an experience though. And that's
Straight
the
up.
thing. Like life is nothing without experience, you know? And so like you've experienced a lot. And like, I think we're going to dive into some of your journey because most of the people who are listening to this, as we grow and as like we scale the show, after a year of recording, like we're restarting because we know what we want to talk about. And like, that's the thing about MindFlux. Like it is for independent thinkers, like creators, right? So a lot of the people who listen to us have listened to Gary Vee, Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, Andy Frisella, Jim Rohn, Napoleon Hill, right? And like,
got the whole menu,
dude, look, go through that. You can go through these authors and these books.
Yeah,
and like
bro, I know.
We are all consuming the same information, but we're not all creating the same things. And like, why is that? Because each of us have our own unique experience, and each of us have our own unique perspective based on what we go through and the information as it comes through us. And like, most people are on such like a rush to go through the information that none of it goes through them. Right. And like, they end up getting stuck.
They just want to like Well, not they, but like a lot of times I found myself wanting to just like know the content,
Yeah.
but not necessarily apply it or like put
Right.
it into anything. And I was just like, bro, why do I like? I
Then
know
why do you need to know it? It's nothing.
Why do I know the 48 laws about? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just
Yeah.
like that does unless you're like applying it somewhere.
Yeah,
So I feel
exactly.
that.
And that's part of like what our show is about. It brings in that new experience, like because
Yeah.
the people and the guests that we bring on.
Yeah.
So appreciate you for coming, by the way.
Hey man, thank y'all for having me.
So like the guests we have on, the guests we plan to have on are people
Yeah.
on this journey, people who
Right.
are actually taking that information, maybe in their own way. Some people don't read any of these books at all.
Right.
But they're winning.
Right.
Because they are
Yeah, I was
creating
about to say,
and they
which
are
is fine.
expressing.
Yeah.
Like if you're winning, you're winning.
Yeah.
Right. And the people who listen to us are kind of like on this journey, like
Mm-hmm.
with us and with, you know, our guests and everything too. So I think that that's like a unique side of the perspective.
Right.
And I like what Josh asked, like about California before, California after.
Right.
But like, I want to back up how you got to California in the first place. Did you go
Yeah.
to New York first?
I mean, the abridged version of the story is like I'm from Indianapolis. A bunch of stuff happened, and then I basically left because I was like, I got to get out. And so I went to California first, and I like lived with a friend for a little bit, and after that, like I didn't want to like overstay my welcome, so I dipped out, lived at a hostel, and in short, I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to do, like in life, and so like I kind of just ran away. And so it was rough, man. But like I lived in a hostel. I literally, like, no exaggeration, like wake up and go to mountains and like sit on mountains and be like, yo, like what I want to do with like my life type shit. And I would do it for like an extended amount of time too, like day over day over day over day. And like I don't know why, but it's just like I've never really had that anxious feeling of like, oh, you're 20, you're 21, 22, you need to be successful by 23. Like, so I was just patient because at this point, so I left home at 17, and then like I went to California when I was around like 8, I want to say like 9. No, because I was older than that, so it was probably like 20. So it was like a 3-year stint of like when everything at home happened. Then I finally left when I was like 19 or 20. I think I was a little bit older because I was drinking, or maybe I don't know. But I was just like, actually, never mind. But yeah, went to California to figure out what I wanted to do. I was in California, and I was like, oh, you know what? Like, I love TED Talks, and I was like, I feel like I have like a knack and an affinity for helping people tell stories. And so I was like, oh, you know what? I could become best friends with the CEO of TED, and I could get a job there. That was literally my thought process. Because I'm good with people.
Right.
And so I was like, I'll just become best friends with them. That that was my actual, like, ignorance is bliss, because it's like I was so confident in that. And I was just like, yeah, I don't even know the CEO's name now, like, but whoever it was, like, yeah, I'll just become best friends with him. I go to TED, like online, and I'm like looking for jobs and stuff. I'm looking for like CEO's name. And then somehow I come across this like internship that looked phenomenal. I'm like, oh, this is me, like 100%. And so I apply for the internship, no exaggeration. I apply for the internship. It takes me like 3-4 days to like put my resume in, like send it off, like get all that together. And then right after I send it, I pack up my stuff and I just go to New York. You know, it's like I didn't even get the response from the.
You're
like,
just expecting it to
yeah,
work.
I
So
was
you're
like,
like, I mean, this is a bulletproof resume. It's
like,
going to work for sure.
Like, why would I not get this job or this internship? And so I literally go. Can I cuss on this podcast? I'm like trying to make sure I don't.
do whatever
yeah.
you got to do
No,
to
for
tell.
sure. No, I'm just trying to
the best way.
Yeah, and so I was just gonna say dead ass right there. That's probably not funny. But so I go to New York, and I'm trying to figure stuff out. I end up staying at another hostel, which was a huge blessing because it was looking rough there for a while. Stayed at another hostel, and long story short, I didn't get the internship. But there was.
But you were in New York.
But I was in New York, and there was this woman who worked at TED, and she was just like a blessing, like straight up, like really cared about me. And she was a really high rank at TED too, which was so crazy, you know, that she would take time. But she literally, like, because I was reaching out to people on LinkedIn to get this internship. So she reached back out to me, and she just stayed on the phone with me for a while, like asked me my questions, what I was trying to do, what I wanted to do, blah, blah, whatever. And so after that, she's like, yo, you should like come in. And so I was like, all right. And so I come in, and for like an hour and like 50 minutes, like literally sat me down and just like tedious stuff, like help me fix my resume, help me like get my LinkedIn together, like get all this stuff together. And then literally right after that, she starts messaging. She's like, where do you want to work? And I would like say a name, and she would like look it up on LinkedIn. She's like, oh, I have a connection with this person. Like send them a message. And she's
Wow.
like, and she was like, where else do you want to work? And I had to like come up with shit. At this point, I was like, where do I want to work?
I just got to New York.
Yeah.
It's only my third day out
Bro,
here.
and she's lit, and I'm talking about like she's like like VaynerMedia type level companies, like just wherever.
Yeah.
And so it was super crazy. So she helped me out so much, and I'm so grateful for her because she really jump started me into being a professional. Because before I was just kind of like, from the like not like a rough part of life, but it's just like I've been through some stuff, and so it was like I just didn't really know how to become like a professional. And so she helped me with that, and I didn't get the internship. And then so I'm in New York, and I'm like doing this hostel thing. I'm still kind of grinding. It's like I had a lot of spiritual things take place there, and like it was a phenomenal trip. But then I heard about this opportunity called Mission U, which is in California. It was a data analytics and business intelligence program. There was like a 1% chance of getting in, or like less than that, or something. And it was just wild. And I'm not like good at the square things, as I call it. Like I'm so like musical and fluffy and like blah blah whatever. And so I was just like, this is gonna be rough, but like let me go for it because it just kind of intrigued me. It was a different way of like learning things, and somehow I got in. And so
Less than
like,
1%.
Yeah, bro. Like it was
you got
wild,
in.
and it was on some data stuff, bro. Like I don't really be.
You had to use Excel.
Yeah, bro. Like that's literally like it was so heavy on Excel, and I remember I was doing the test, and I was like, "This is crazy." Like I was like, "This is like I would never do this in my whole life." So I get in. That's a 9-month program. That's probably the hardest thing I've ever been through. Like more than the like life struggles and difficulties, just because like I don't get stressed to any degree usually. But man, when you put Excel in front of a person, you ever see that Michael Jordan meme when you lie on when you say proficient in Excel and you're like sweating into some Michael Jordan meme? Like that was me, because I was just like, this is crazy, like this is so difficult, but I did it. And then like we can go back into my story if you want, but I had done like stuff in music before, like that's kind of like what really got me super excited about like actually pursuing music. But going to this program, and then my background in music, like managing and like just doing different things like that, that got me an opportunity at Spotify. And then Spotify was back in New York because the program was in California and San Francisco. So at this point, I was in California to find myself. Then I went to New York to do the internship, which didn't work out, but I met a wonderful woman who like helped me out like crazy and really got me to be a professional. Then I went to California for this program called Mission U, where I got like the data side of me, like data analytics, business intelligence, learned how to use Excel, like learned how to code a little bit. It was crazy. And then after that, like that combination of my background in music, of managing people and like just always living in the studio and doing stuff like that, that combination of that side and that data side got me a job at Spotify. And then I worked at Spotify for like a year. And at Spotify, that's when I really took stuff up like crazy, because it was like my first big boy job.
Right.
So I didn't know I just didn't know how anything corporate works. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember someone said like, yo, do you have like a hard stop after this? Which just means like, do you have to leave a meeting at a certain time? And literally I was so nervous to answer the question because I just didn't know what hard stop meant.
Right.
And so Spotify was kind of like, low key, Spotify was kind of like college for me. Cause like, obviously I didn't go to college, but like Spotify was really like I like learned how to become like a better person as far as like professionally communicating,
right?
Like end dates, like deadlines, and stuff like that. So at Spotify, did that. It was like a contract role, so it was a limited amount of time. But within that time frame, I met a bunch of people and like had a bunch of mentors, and a bunch of people took care of me. And then that contract came to an end, and then and that was in New York. And then after that, one of the mentors that I had at Spotify sent me this job at Capitol, at Capitol for Motown, where I'm at now. And I was just like, wow, this is like a crazy role. You know what I'm saying? Like this is like a lot higher than what I was even looking for. You know what I'm saying? But I knew I could do it. I just like, it was weird because like I feel like I had seen this role while I was looking for jobs, but I feel like I've kind of like subconsciously didn't even apply for it because I was like, oh, that's like a higher level role. Like you're not ready for that yet. Like subconsciously though, because I would never consciously do that, but like I just kept scrolling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was weird for me to be like, damn, like you saw the same role, but you didn't apply for it, but someone else sees this in you, and like they're like the person I'm talking about just like is one of the most influential people like I've met. Period. And like she runs stuff in music, so it's crazy for her to like see that in me. And for me to kind of like just not see that as quickly as she did. And so then I applied for it, had 1,000 interviews. It was so many, like the interview process was crazy, but it was a phenomenal interview process. I was just like, this is a lot. But then I got the job. So then I left New York and then I came back to California, and now I'm living in LA. So yeah, I just been taking laps around the country. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just trying
Back
to figure
and
it
forth.
out.
Yeah.
But like, there's so many pieces of that story
Yeah.
that are important, though. Like,
And then even
'cause-
before the story, that's the part that's crazy. Because before the story, like, because this is the part that matters. So before the story, I had some crazy stuff happen at home, and so I had to kind of like leave home, and I started sleeping in my brother's studio, DG. Shout out DG. So it's just like I would just stay in his studio, and so when I was in the studio, different artists would come in, and they would like obviously do music, and like I've always been the biggest fan of people telling their stories in music. Like that's always come natural to me. Like even before I was born, like my real name Kenyatta means the musical one in Swahili. So this is like before me. You know what I'm saying? Like this
Right.
is like it was supposed to be
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying?
Destined.
Yeah. And so I would be in the studio and I would just get this feeling like when people was in there making music, I was like what is this?
Yeah.
Like this is wild. Like I would like get goosebumps and stuff, and then like, but DG's so like empathetic and intuitive. He noticed me getting super excited, and so it's like, but I'm not like I'm naturally introverted. It's like I definitely can socialize and I can communicate really well, or at least I try to. But like I'm not the type of person who's gonna input or insert myself into like situations, even if I have something good to say. And so DG kind of peeped that out though. And he would notice that I'll be paying like hyper close attention to like what's going on. So then in between sessions and stuff, he'd be like, yo, what do you think that like this artist should do like on this? Or what do you think that this artist should do on that? And then that started going from like, instead of in between the sessions, during the session with the artist, he's like, yo, Yahdy, like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And so I was just like, yo, this is crazy. You're like asking for my 2 cents. And the crazier part about that was when they used my 2 cents. Mm-hmm. So then they would be like, yo, what do you think about this? I'm like, oh, you should do this. And then they did it. And they were like, yeah, let's keep that. And I was like, what?
Hey, if it
Like,
went number one, need them.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, yo, this is, I was shook at that. And like, I have the same feeling now when I'm at the late, like there's like, I think the biggest blessing I have with my job, because in the music industry, you don't always get to work with artists that you're like truly a fan of. Like you get to work with amazing artists, but it's not like, you don't always get to work with like, yo, I've been listening to you.
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
I've listened to all your albums.
Yeah,
I've seen you live.
yeah.
Like, yeah, it's
But,
not,
dude,
like, it's still a job. Like, you still have work to do.
And it's still fun. It don't take nothing away from it. This is just a cherry on top. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, I have some acts that I work with where I'm like, no, like, I was like, even if I didn't work here, I was still listening to your music. And so now that same feeling I had with DG when I was working with like those artists that were on the come up and like just in the small studio, I'll be in these big boardrooms, bro, like 30, 40 people. And it's just like, I'll have an idea. And so, like, I'm kind of the same kid where it's like, I don't really want to speak up, but it's like, my little homie Jess, like who I work with, she'll like see it in me and she'll like, and I'll like slack her in a meeting and I'll be like, yo, what do you think about this idea? And she's like, you should say that. You know what I'm saying? Amber did the same thing to me. And, like one time I texted her an idea in the middle of the meeting. She was like, don't text me this idea. You better say that. And I said it and it was like well received. And then it's like one time we implemented it in like streaming, like we implemented an idea I had for a song and streams went up like crazy, like over 100%. And so I was just like, yo, like, this is crazy. So, yeah, all it is just me, like, wanting to help them tell that story. But, man, for me, it's like when somebody uses my idea, and even if they don't use it, that don't really matter. But it's like if they do, it's a bonus for me. Like, that's like, I don't know what that feeling is that I get. Like, it's like hard to articulate, but, like, what's understood don't need to be explained. But it's like that feeling, it's like it feels like my heart kind of, like, fills up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, because it's their story. And, like, they're like, oh, yeah, like, the 2 cents you just gave me is helping me, like, put this out into the world.
Express something about them that, like, you've never been through.
Yeah,
in
because that
them,
takes empathy and intuition.
Right, because
you
it's
know?
their story.
Yeah.
But you're like, hang on, let me, like, match myself in line with you right now and then
Right.
help this go another step.
What Drake say? I told my story, made his story.
Yep.
That's how I be feeling consistently.
That's dope. And I honestly, man, like when you was going through all that, I think the biggest thing that you did is just like you just went for it. Like
Yeah.
even the fact that you just like hopped up and went to New York with no like position, no nothing, but it turned out so well because it wasn't about, you know, getting that job. It wasn't about getting a specific job. Honestly, it was about you were meant to just meet that one person.
Absolutely. But you know my perspective on that is like Because it was dumb hard for way longer than it was like nice. You know, like because you saw the house I was staying at, like when you came to visit.
Yeah, I stayed with Yahdy in New York.
It was cool, but like it wasn't.
I thought it was cool, but like I was not leaving at night. Like I stayed the night.
Yeah, and so it's just like it was like. So to your point, like like I definitely got up and like at the end of the day, I made it happen. But bro, that was if you like that's like 6-7 years of going back and forth in between California and New York trying to make it happen. But my perspective on it, what I was gonna say is like whenever I do stuff like that, in my head I'm just like, well, I'm not gonna die.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I don't even like being in uncomfortable positions. But I understand that if I get in an uncomfortable position, I'm going to have to fight my way out because I don't want to be uncomfortable.
Right.
So it's just like at the end of the day, do you want to go left or do you want to go right? Let's say left is just being complacent, not reaching your goals, not doing what you want to do, blah, blah, whatever. That's completely fine. But I just didn't want to do that. And I'm consciously aware of that. I was like, okay, let's go right. And right is like all these big dreams and goals or whatever. And then there's like these like adversity that's in between it. Of course, I don't want to go through the adversity. But at the end of the day, I'm like, but I want to get here. And so I think I have the discipline to just like put myself somewhere because then I have to do it.
Yeah.
Because think about it, if you're in the middle of New York with no money, you can't really just give up.
Right.
You know,
You just can't fall down in the middle of Times Square.
Yeah. Like you have to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I just put myself in positions where I have to do something that's going to propel me forward.
Like a back against the wall.
Yeah. Because I'm kind of reiterating myself. It's like you have to do it. You know? It's
Like you have to go forward. Like you literally can't go any further back.
Literally,
And
like I don't have the option to not do it.
But that is like the thing that scares so many people
Right.
is like starting means accepting their back is against the wall, like to move forward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they have to give something up right from the jump. For a lot of people, like they would tell us in college, or just in other places, like, you know, if you're not willing to relocate, you're not going to get a job. And there are people who will stay where they are and forget the dream job or the dream company or whatever, just because they're not willing to leave where they're at for a year or two and try it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's just my thing is always if a person's happy, not necessarily even happy, but if they're not complaining about like what's going on, then I'm cool with it. But it's just like, if you're gonna not be happy about it, and if you're gonna complain about it, then you have to do something about it. So it's like if I accepted the life that like wasn't my dream life, I'd probably complain about it. Like, yo, why am I working this? And it's like I'm like, yo, if I'm gonna do that, I might as well just go for it because that's just energy you could have put into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just comes down to like how that's so cliche. It's like how bad do you want it? But that's really kind of it.
But that's the thing. It is different for everybody. So
Exactly.
like we found a lot of things doing our first year of like the show and everything, and like really found out like how we want to express it. And so one of the things is like that there is a place, and you know it's different for everybody. So it's like people want to go there, and like for you it's in music, and like for me I'm still finding it out a little bit, you know. And then for other people maybe it's sports, but like it's there, and there's so many other little pieces of the puzzle that go into it, and like no matter what, you have to pick the pieces up like piece by piece and put them together like every single time. Like it doesn't matter what smacks off the table, you know, and you just got to restart, like make a new plan. Like for you, for example,
That's in anything.
You went to California, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to go to New York. And like you had to restart. Then you had to go to California and restart and then back to New York.
And
you know what I'm saying?
And when I did that, I still like I knew, but I didn't like know what I was trying to do completely. So it's like in the same sense of putting myself in a position where I, like my back's against the wall and I have to go and do something. If I don't know what I want to do, I put myself in a position to where it's like, well, let me figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So I'll put myself in a place where there's creatives walking through here. There's like business intelligence. Like that's why I went to Mission U. I literally have never had like a crazy affinity for data or like business intelligence or anything like that. But I was just like, well, since I don't know what I want to do, why don't I just do this to see? Because you have to like taste everything, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then and then like you take all those experiences, and that's what gets you to where you want to go. So it's just like that data, and then my music background took me to Spotify. So it's like if I wouldn't have just tried this, I wouldn't have gotten here, which got me to where I'm at now, which is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so it's just about like putting yourself in a position to experience everything
And
like,
accept opportunities.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing is like
Say yes.
you kept seeking out opportunities and also accepting them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think one important thing you said was like, the time is gonna pass anyway. Like regardless of what,
it's gonna go.
it's gonna go because like a lot of people they just wait and like you said, like all that time, they could have been doing at least trying something new for a little bit of
Yeah.
time. Like the time's gonna go by regardless.
Right. No, I completely agree with that. That's how I got into DJing, because I was just like, that's not how I got into DJing. Like I always like just wanted to try that, but when I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, I'm working at this job. Like this is phenomenal, but it's like, what else do I want to do? And I was like, shoot, do I want to do this? I want to do that? And I was taking way too long to decide. And I was like, let me just try this and keep thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? Like you can multitask. I feel like that's what I didn't think about before. I would be like, let me try this. And that would just be it. But it's like, you can try this while trying this, while doing that, while like taking a walk over here. It's just like, we have so many hours in the day. Like you can try different things at the same time, which will still ultimately do the same thing of culminating experiences and intelligence and wisdom to whatever you need it to be, so it can get you to where you want to go.
Deep. Dropping bombs. He's just dropping bombs.
Oh my God.
Just one after another.
Hey man, that's real.
So now you're in California. You work with artists. Like, so we went through the story, we backed it up, like, and we, swivel through that. Now you're with artists telling their story. And so, like, for the people who listen to our show, we have all these creators, and that's literally who you work with. So you've obviously went through like a ton in this experience, like just personally, professionally, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, everything. You know what I mean? But now you're watching artists do that too, but like that is their career.
Right.
So what is that like? Because I think so many people, I think what you were just saying is like you used to put all your eggs in one basket. Like, and I think it takes doing that for a while to really figure out where you want to go. But for you, like you're working with people who like that is their basket, like their music. Like I imagine
Literally.
none of them are doing it part-time if they're working with you guys. It's like a label.
Yeah.
So what is it like watching artists transition and like even seeing the industry transition? Because music is such a big deal in so many people's lives.
Right.
But like they are human beings behind every single sound you hear.
Absolutely.
So like what is that like observing for you now that since you are so like literally aware?
Right. I think this is what kind of pushed me to just want to have more artistic and creative expression for myself, is just seeing how vulnerable these artists are allowing themselves to be to the world. And it doesn't have to be on like some J. Cole Too Deep for the Intro type stuff. Like it can be like a pop song, it can be like a cool club record or whatever. But it's like they're like, these artists are literally like opening themselves up to the world. And I guess and it's crazy because I've always took music so seriously and I've enjoyed it, but like seeing like how these artists like dive into themselves when they create these records, and I'm just like, you are literally just like, all right, here's my heart, please don't
Step on it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so that's the one thing it's made me like I don't really even like to, like, it's weird, I don't even like to talk about songs or music that I don't like anymore, because I'm like, somebody like put their energy into that, like their real life energy into that record. And even if it's just like I said, like a club song, a pop song or whatever, like even if it's just kind of like a funny song, it's like that's still creative energy that they put into that record. And so one thing that's kind of happened and I've always been this way, but it's really like kind of been ingrained in me since working more closely with like all different levels of artists, is whenever I'll hear a record, I'll like try to, so I'll hear a record and let's say it doesn't like come to me naturally, like I'm not like really like vibing to it, or it's like not my thing. I'll literally kind of like look for what other people like about the record. So especially with music in other genres that like I don't work with on the regular, I'm aware that I'm not familiar with this genre. So it's like if I hear a record and it's like not resonating with me, but I know someone else on a different floor likes it and I'm working on the record or something, I'll go ask them. I'm like, yo, what do you like about this record? Like, what resonates with you? Why does this pop off? Like, what's the moment that people are going to resonate with this song? And I feel like that's been like this crazy, and I'll do it like by myself too. So it's like if a song doesn't like ring off for me initially, I'll be like, okay, well, let me find something that I like, And it's like, I think Drake does this the best, because let's say Drake puts out a bad song, eventually you like the song. You know what I'm saying? It's like you find something like, just because you hear it so many times, and it's like he puts it. It's not everybody's Drake, but just the concept of like you can get people to like something even if they don't initially like it. And so that's been impressive to me, is just being able to like find different parts of what these creators and these musicians and these just phenomenal people are like putting out there. It's just like you can find something that you like about it. And then once you do that, it's just the same thing of like taking all these experiences and these sounds and these like moments and putting it all together to help you like kind of be more well-rounded to get you to go to the next place. So that's been one thing I've taken away from working so closely with these artists is just being like, wow, like even if this doesn't ring off for me, it's like I can find something that I may like about it, and then I definitely want to find what other people are liking about it because that'll teach me more. Like so perfect example is like house music. I wouldn't say house because I've always liked house, but like not house. What's like a genre of music that's similar to house? I want to say. Like what would you guys?
EDM? I don't know.
Like EDM, but no, I want to say
I don't
something.
know. You're
like,
asking the wrong people. We don't work. We don't work in music.
No, but let's say like just deep house for a while because I like house. But let's say like deep, like synthy, like house for a while, or like trance music. We'll do trance. Like,
I don't even know what that is.
Like trance music for a while. I just couldn't get into trance music, and it's just kind of like. I don't want to like try to imitate it because it'll seem like I'm making fun of it, but it's just like trance music is very repetitive. And for a while, most of my life, I like couldn't get behind. I was like, bro, I can't find what people like about this. And I would go to clubs in New York, these big crazy trance clubs with like a bunch of friends. And I'm just like, yo, I can't get in. Like, and I'm trying, man. Like, I can't shuffle to it. Like, I can't like whoa to it. So it's just, you know, I'm trying to figure it out. And then finally, like, my old roommate, Jess McAvoy, she told me. She was just explaining, like, the thing about trance music to her specifically is, like, the community behind it. And I was like, what are you talking about? Because, like, usually people talk about, like, the sonics and, like, this melody or, like, whatever, the drums. She was like, no, it's, like, the community. And the people. I was like, really? She was like, yeah. And she was like, not the reason, but, like, the fact that the music is so, I don't want to say simple in the sense of, like, it's, like, easy to do, but, like, it's definitely, like, easy to follow. Like, when you hear trance music, it's definitely, like, easy to follow, very repetitive, you know, kind of like gets everybody on the chord. And then when you go to a show and you look around, everybody is on like the same page. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, boom, boom. And like people are like, you can, but it's like this energy within the crowd where everybody knows that like these other like bajillion people that are at this show are all literally on the same exact frequency. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, they're all like heading on at the same time. And then it's like the buildup is really slow. And then finally it drops and everybody just like freaks out. And I was just like, oh, you're right. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And now when I go to trance shows, I'm like, I get it. You know? And then I get excited but then I start liking the music. I'm like, I get what this is for.
It. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so like that like stuff like that has really taught me. And I apply that in like my life. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
like you see things from other people's perspective, like, and that's like a recurring theme here, whether it be the stories you help tell or the music, and like that's an important thing for everybody listening to. Like that's a literal lesson. Like if you're not willing to put yourself in someone else's shoes and like look at that other perspective and see things in that other way, how are you going to expect to take another step forward?
I agree with that. I've been like, it's been working like outside of like music as well. Because think about if you meet a person that you don't initially click with. Or that you might have like reservations about, but you see that other people like them, dead ass, I'll just go ask like, yo, what do you like about this? Because it's not a bad question.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, like, what's your favorite thing about Josh? Not that you're a bad person, but it's just like, yo, what's your favorite thing about Josh? And then someone's like, oh, like he's really like empathetic, or it's like, I love his hustle. And you're like, oh, I'm not around him. I don't get to see him hustle. Like, what's that like? Like, yo, this dude wakes up early. He goes to the gym. Like, he's always on his grind. He does a mind flux thing. It's like he's all over the place. You're just like, damn, really? It's like, I thought he was just a bum. You know, it's like in your head, you saying, like, you don't say it, but in your head, you're like, I thought he was just a bum. And then you start to see, like, oh, like, you know, we may not be on the same frequency, but it's like, I see why other people like him, and I can like that about him as well. And then now you've got another relationship that you can build and, you know, like, leverage and, like, you know, build upon. And so it's just like, and I got that from, like, learning that from creatives with like hearing their music and stuff like that. So yeah, you can apply that like everywhere, and it's been like crazy to me because now I'm just always trying to figure out what I like about something that I don't like.
Yeah, and I mean I think that's like super important because it's like everybody wants to figure out the negative first, or identify the negative, and the fact that you know you kind of have the mindset because I mean you even said it like if you hear something you ain't vibing with, you try not to because like they're obviously putting their creative energy.
Exactly.
Like, try to find the positive. So like. With that, you know, so elaborate a little bit more. How has finding the positive in things like impacted you and like positively, or like how has that transformed your life?
Yeah, I think I don't know if I'm like annoying to my friends, but I'm definitely like aggressively optimistic. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like,
It's not okay, Yahdy.
like
aggressively
optimistic. Because if
would you rather be mad? Okay, stay mad then.
you know what I'm saying? So it's just like I'm aggressively optimistic in the sense of like I don't think I get detached from reality. You know, I think I'm still like a realist, but it's like I will always be on the like positive side of any situation. Because it's just like it is what it is. Like this happened, like I completely understand that this is terrible.
Yeah.
Now.
But
what can we do? So
Yeah.
I think I don't think I know my friends with that. They kind of know me for it. But I think that's how it's kind of directly impacted my life is like in any situation, period, like car breaks down, you get broken up with, like whatever, like terrible stuff. I'm going to figure out like, okay, like this is awful. This is detrimental. This is traumatizing. Like, okay, what can we do? You know what I'm saying? And like there's resources for that, you know? And so it's kind of switched. Like I've always tended to be like, look on the bright side of things, but now I'm just like, no, like look for it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like what resources, what person, what book, what meditation, what, you know what I'm saying? It's like there's like logistics behind it. I think that's because like in the songs, when I'm like, oh, you guys like the melody? Oh, you like the community behind it? Oh, you like this, and this? Now I'm far more like 2 + 2 is 4 with it. Instead of just being like, I hope it's great. I'm just like, well, let me find what I can do to make it, you know, better.
And it comes down to what like Josh said earlier, like you're always finding a way. And like I think one thing is your persistence. I wouldn't even consider it like the aggressive, like you're like you are persistent though in anything that you do. Like it doesn't even matter if it's like the group chat, for example. Like
bruh, so many group
like,
whoever
like,
watches
so
this,
are we doing this or not? like
bruh.
I don't know. It's just like you're but the thing is you're always like knocking on that door, like, and for yourself as well, like as you started to learn about yourself and like literally sitting on mountains, right? Like you were doing it for days at a time. Like some people will think that like they can go do something for an hour and they're supposed to be fixed, or they can maybe think about themselves once and all of a sudden they're going to figure it out. Like you were going for days at a time. You spent years alone traveling back and forth, like trying to just make it and like figure out your own way and be creative. Like, but you kept knocking on that door. Like you kept beating down the door till it broke in. And now you do have the job that you want. You do have the resources that you want, and now you can look at where you can go create. And like most people, I feel like who are on that grind or on that hustle, like they're missing that element of like the consistency in the persistence, like the consistently persistent side of success.
No, I mess with that. That's a good point. I haven't thought about this in a while, but like some of my old homies used to tell me that I'm like an extremist. Because like how I got into meditating, I heard it was good, and just like you said, persistence or like just the aggressiveness with it. The way I had my first experience with meditating, I just sat there for like 3.5 hours and didn't move, like period. Because I was just like, yo, I don't know how this works, but I know you're supposed to sit here and be still. So like I'm gonna just sit here and be still till something happens. That's just so extreme.
Until I start floating.
Until I start levitating it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know what was going. I didn't know if I was gonna go Super Saiyan. I didn't know if I was gonna fall asleep, like whatever. But like no, for real, like sat there for like 3.5 hours, and then I had an experience meditating, and then like I learned about it, and that's the same thing of getting the experiences and culminating and moving forward. But that's how I approach everything, and I don't. It's kind of like a blessing and a curse because it's just like I'm hyper disciplined, but at the same time, it's like hard to break me off of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I don't really have a good example of what I've done recently, but it's just like, I'm always like, yo, if this is what I'm doing, then I'm doing it. So it's like, if I'm going to the gym, it's like, I'm going to the gym, like for whatever I set it for. It doesn't have to be extreme in the sense of what I'm doing, but extreme in the sense of like sticking to it.
Yeah. And like your attention while you're there, like you give 100% of your attention to the present moment.
I agree with that.
And I think that is like also a unique thing because people would be sitting here thinking about tomorrow and yesterday, but like yesterday is gone and tomorrow's not here. Right. So like what are you doing right now?
But also it's not like the best mentality to always have. Cause like, I feel like there's so many situations where I need to be like way more flexible. You know what I'm saying? Cause it's like some stuff you gotta play by ear, you know what I'm saying? Like, for example, it's like, and I'm not saying this about me, and I'm not saying this about me, but like, if you like a shorty, and it's just like, I like her, You know, you can't just like, this is it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you can't, there's variables in that situation that you should react to depending on what's going on. And so it's just like, there's stuff like that in relationships. There's stuff like that in like music or whatever. And I feel like that's where I need to balance it a little bit more, is because like, I'm definitely hyper disciplined, and it's like when I kind of put my eyes on something, just because the way my life is going, like I told you, it's like once I do something for a lot, like I'm gonna get good at it, and then I'm gonna make it happen. But I think I need to understand that there are other things where it's just like you can't. It's not just gonna happen by like consistency. You know, it's like there's
you still gotta be observant, and still gotta be like malleable, and like that. Like there's one thing I want to make sure we cover before we end up like having to wrap this up. And it's what we focused on the first time we recorded you. And then we like spoke together on something Josh and I practice every day. And it's that concept of gratitude. And the only reason why is because when I think about your journey, I think about the things that we've talked about, like literally like when we knew you were living the life in California, like comparatively to what you're going through, because you were like sending us these videos, like selfie videos that were just like, I could feel the vibes. Right. You know what I mean? Like the energy, like through the phone, you were so grateful. But you also use gratitude as a tool when things were the toughest for you. And so like, I just want to pause there without even explaining anything about it and ask you, like, what does the concept of gratitude play in your life right now? And what did it play before, et cetera?
Bro, this is such a great question, because like, I've always like, so gratitude before, like as I was just like getting to where I'm at, was just kind of like a secret weapon, you know what I'm saying? Because like stuff could be, I've seen how bad stuff could be like in my life, and I know it could be way worse, but it's like I saw it. And so then as I was going through my journey, I was like just grateful, because it can always be worse, you know what I'm saying? And that just like comforted me. So it's just like I'm always grateful. Like, and the way I even kind of do my affirmations and the way I try to manifest things is, I'm so happy and grateful now that, you know what I'm saying? And then I would like insert that into the blank. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have a job, blah, 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 whatever. And so it's like when I was coming up, like gratitude was like literally like my sword, you know what I'm saying? And it always has been and always will be. Now, like just to be all the way transparent with everybody, it's been super interesting, because I have a lot of like opportunities and I have a lot of things in front of me, and I'm really like I'm having fun and I'm enjoying my life, and it's phenomenal. But it's like I'm starting to like, how do I say this? It's like I'm still grateful for everything, but sometimes when things will get rough or like whatever, I'll have like a bad day or something, I feel bad about feeling bad. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like basically, so let's say I go through my day, I have an argument. I don't think an argument would get me upset, but like let's say something bad happens, you know, and I'll feel bad about it naturally. So with me being such a grateful, but like my whole existence is kind of rooted in being grateful. You know, it's like I always say, like gratitude at an all-time high. So it's like whenever I feel these moments of like not being grateful or like, you know, just kind of feeling off, I'll feel bad about feeling off. And it's been really like I've been dealing with this a lot, because it's just like I have more resources, I have a place to stay, I have more friends, I have more, you know, time to delegate, you know, energy and different like things like that. And so when I do feel, whenever anything happens and I kind of feel off, it's like, I'll be like, man, what do you, like, what? Like, you what? Like, you don't see this life in front of you? Like, why are you, like, worried about this situation? You know what I'm saying? And it's just, like, it's real. And so it's just, like, I don't have like the best answer for it right now, just to be transparent, because it's just like I'm still dealing with that.
Still figuring it out.
Yeah,
because like you used to use it as a tool, like what can I be grateful for?
Exactly.
Like there's a difference between saying what can I be grateful for, and I've got all these things to be grateful for.
Yeah.
Like why could this go wrong? Like how can I feel wrong about this? And
it's like the opposite. You know what I'm saying? Because before it was just like on paper I didn't really have much, and so it's just like, yo, what can I be grateful for? And then you have all these like things. And now, on paper, comparatively to the other sheet of paper, I just have a lot more. And so it's just like, it's different. You know what I'm saying? Because if I have a bad day over here on this side of paper, it's like, I get it. It's like, it's rough. You know? If you have a bad day on this sheet of paper, it's just like, you have a lot to be grateful for. Why are you crying? Like, what's going on? And it's weird. So it's just like, I've been trying to deal with that. Like, I have a bunch of friends that like lift me up, because I'm like transparent with my homies. And I'll be like, yo, I feel bad about this situation, and I feel like a child for feeling bad about this situation because it's just like from where I come from, this is more than like the cherry on top, bro. This is the freaking like I got the ice cream store and like we franchising out type deal. You know what I'm saying? From where I came from, so. Yeah, it's been weird, but I mean, I'm always still grateful for everything I have. Like, don't get me wrong. So it's just like I wake up my day, or excuse me, when I wake up, the first thing I do is like thank God for like what I have. I'm just like, thank you for this, thank you for air, thank you for Grandma Pete, thank you for my friends, thank you for like my car, thank you for, and it's not material things all the time. Sometimes like thank you for my intuition, thank you for food, thank you for like my empathy, thank you for like music, like stuff like that. So it's like that's like my daily routine. So it's engraved in me. But when I have moments that are off, like I don't know how to handle that yet, because it's just different. But here's the thing: I'm from this sheet of paper to this sheet of paper. There's only been 9 months in between there. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm still new. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
that's literally how long it takes for a baby to get here. That's 9 months,
right? So we still trying to figure it out. But yeah, I mean, to answer your question directly, like gratitude plays a consistent part in my life right now, like it always will. I just don't know how to handle it currently when I have like off days, because like I feel like I should be grateful and I am grateful, but whenever I like get upset about stuff, I'm just like, damn, like I feel like this shouldn't be bothering you. This is kind of weird. And I'm still going through it.
But there's a lot of people out there listening right now. Like not everybody is in the the struggle. Like some people they have their job, they have a place to live, they have they have like the basic necessities, and maybe they come from struggling before, maybe they've never felt that in their life. And so that concept of gratitude, when so many things are like an expectation or normality, it's kind of like how do I express that feeling? So I mean, I totally understand that.
You know what's been helping me? This is a little unrelated, but so it's like, and I've done this before, but whenever I'm feeling a certain way, I'll try to, so let's say I feel sad, I'll try to make someone, because the opposite of sad is happy, I'll try to make someone else happy. So it's like if and that's kind of why it's like, maybe that's why I love so hard in general. It's just like all the group chats I make, and it's just like
you make a group chat for everything.
I literally have like there's so many people listening to this. They're like, "Yo, I'm in a group chat with Yahdy." Yeah, like straight. Like I have a new kids group chat for my homies at work. I have a cousins group chat for like me and cousins. I have our group chat, 2 twin Dracos. Shout out. I literally like no exaggerate. I have like no exaggeration, I think I have like 16 real group chats
that are like frequent, active, at least once every 2 days.
It's not even
counting.
And I'm about to say like Instagram. You probably got Instagram.
So many, like we just had one for New Year's. Yeah, group chats are my thing. I don't remember the point I was gonna make.
Man, that's a lot. I feel like I'm just on such a journey.
No, I know I was going to say. Long story short, I was just going to say I try to give the feeling that I don't have to someone else. Because what's the quote? The sense of, the fragrance of the rose you give to someone else will forever remain on your fingertips. So it's like if I have a rose, I give it to Josh, take the rose. Josh has the rose, I can smell the rose on my hands, you know what I'm saying? So I still kind of have that. So it's like, if I'm feeling sad, let me give happiness to someone else, because I'll kind of feel that happiness rub off on me. Or it's like if I'm feeling like distraught, let me like calm someone else down, because I'll get that calmness kind of over me. And so that's what I've been doing a lot recently. It's just like whenever I'm feeling down, or I don't really feel anxious, but whenever I'm feeling down, whenever I'm feeling kind of like scatterbrained, whenever I'm feeling like, okay, like I'm feeling away, I'm like, how can I make someone else feel better? And so that's when y'all get them random texts, or it's like when people get like a random FaceTime, or it's like when I go up and like just like the that type of stuff that I do, that's me just like, let me make someone else feel better. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like, if I'm not 100%, let me get someone else 100%, because I'll at least get to 90 doing that.
Yeah.
You know, so that's kind of like my mentality with that.
Now I feel bad if I ever don't respond.
In the group text. Like, what am I supposed to say? But at the same time, like, oh, snap, wait, is this a crisis?
I mean, yo, everybody's going to be like, yo, like, next time I send some love out, they're going to be like, yo, but you good, right?
But everybody else, are you good? You good? It's going to be coming back.
Yeah, literally, it's like a fight. Yeah. It'll definitely be like a little war that I'll win.
Yeah.
That I'll win.
Yeah, because you can't outlove me, dog. You know how hard I love? It's over.
You do go hard in the love game.
Hey, man, I try my best.
You give hugs.
I give aggressive hugs, you know? And, like, you kind of got to get used to that about me, because, like, that and the weird noises that I make. Like,
he's like a tell-all. He's like, let everybody know what's going on.
My like, physical affection is just like, because I'm such a like touchy-feely person, so it's just like, if I'm laughing, I need you to feel me laughing. Like, I need you to like know that I'm laughing. Like, I need you to feel that. But it's like, if I'm crying, not that I cry often, it's like, I need you to feel me cry. You know what I'm saying? And then it's just like, same with hugs. Like, I try to give people hugs that are a little longer than they're anticipating. And so it's just like, it's
Like they go to step away.
yeah, no, but I'm still like, what? That's literally, I'm
You can
very
feel it
intentional.
every time.
Mhm. Yeah, like I'll hug somebody and then they like step away. They're like, okay, we're still here. I'll just leave it there. 'Cause it's like, yeah, like you can't outlove me, dog. Like you gonna feel this love. Period.
Gonna feel it.
Straight up.
Wow. Well,
Dang.
Yahdy, where can people find you though? Like they can feel you, but where can they find you? What's your Instagram?
My Instagram, same thing. I really thought about changing it because I started DJing now.
So like now you don't know which one to tell us.
No, my Instagram is Yahdy though.
How do you spell it?
Y-A. It's killing me, man. Yahdy, Yachty, and then THO though.
Sensei.
Yeah. But it says Sensei on it. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So it's like,
I mean, well, and then when they watch it, like
yeah. I don't know how the little search engine optimization works on that, but I think if you type in Yachty though, you'll find it.
but they'll find it.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't
I
even
mean,
got nothing
I don't
crazy
even
on it.
have more questions because like we just went on a journey.
We did. And I just want to say, proud of you, man.
Hey man, likewise.
Just super proud of you, because like one thing that we preach about is consistency, is just like keep beating down that door until like the opportunities like they present yourself, or they present themselves to you, and you take full advantage of them. And I think you took full advantage. Just like, you know, for those of like you listening, even new listeners, like get access to our vault and listen to the episode we had with Yachty, because like he was in a way different position, and we like also you'll be able to see it, like you'll be able to hear it, the journey, and it's just like
I was way quieter in that interview too.
I like, what are the random noises?
He went, super hard.
But for real, just super proud of you in the journey, and I'm excited to see where you're at next year and have you on again.
It's true. Me
Next
too,
year,
man.
bro.
Yeah, we got to do it. The man behind the music.
Yeah,
That's deep. I don't even know where I'll be
He's
at
gonna be
next
an
year.
exec next year.
I know.
My homie in Los Angeles asked me a good question, because just like unrelated to like my job, like I started DJing recently. Went 0 to 100 so fast, bro. Like just did some of the craziest gigs with hella people, like celebrities and their mamas was there. Like it was just like it's gone really fast. My homie was like, yo, where do you want to like take this? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, are you trying to be an entertainer? And I said, ooh, that's deep, you know? So I don't know. Maybe I'll have me on next year, and it's just like I'm doing Coachella.
And then,
Yeah.
and then you'll be in a totally
just
different
need
place.
them
I know, right?
We need the tickets.
Need them.
We need the tickets. Wow, guys.
Yeah.
Well, like, thank you again.
Thank
I'd
y'all,
like
man.
to piggyback off what Josh said. Like, it's a true inspiration. Like, you're the first guest we had, you know, when we first started recording.
Right.
And you know, again, here you are. Like, we're restarting again, and like in a way, it's like our on paper a year ago
Yeah.
and today are totally different as well. So like for everybody listening and understanding that journey, like when we talk about mind flux, like success is that journey.
Straight
it's
up.
that realization of the idea. So like you're definitely somebody to model as a success, like in any different way. Like it doesn't matter if you're worried about your relationships or your job or whatever it is, like somebody can learn from you. Like you're
Yeah.
literally living and a living example of what somebody else's taste might be, to, you know, to have somebody to follow that they can depend on being consistent, you know, leading from the front. So I'm really grateful that you're here. I'm really grateful for just like our entire community and everything that it's built around. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. I was getting a little emotional when you said that. That's why I looked down. I was soft. I was like, damn, that was weird. No, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, man, it's been a little journey. But I feel good. I'm grateful. In all areas, you know what I'm saying? Like even family. Like I hung out with my mama yesterday and today. You know what I'm saying? And I like that's the whole thing in itself. So I'm just grateful, man. I'm glad that y'all like see that in me. I'm grateful to be able to share a story. If it speaks to anybody, that's awesome. Because so many people, like these people who wrote these books and like our homies or whatever, have inspired me as well. So, like I said, man, like 2020 is just about like putting stuff out there. So, and y'all doing that. So, shout out to y'all, man, because y'all gonna continue to help a lot of people. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Man.
Yeah, gang.
All right, guys, you can find us at Mindflux, MindFluxed, on all of our social media. But most importantly, guys, please subscribe on YouTube or leave us a review on iTunes. Those are the two things that affect our rankings most. And so if you enjoy Yahdy's story, subscribe. It's free. If you're listening on the podcast, review. It's free. It takes nothing but a little bit of time. And we are going to start incorporating some giveaways and stuff like that for people who leave reviews. So go ahead and start leaving those, because we will pick past reviewers for that, for some of our giveaways. And some of the things that we plan to put out there. So thank you for listening. You can find us at MindFlux everywhere. I am one of your hosts. You can find me at Tristan is Thinking. Where can they find you, Josh?
I am Josh Matthews.
And that's on IG and Twitter?
Just IG.
Just IG. Yep. Cool. And then you can find Benji at Benji Got Beats everywhere. Thank you for helping us produce another amazing episode.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. See you next week.
Peace.
Later.